The night shift in Lakeview Medical Center begins the way storms begin, quiet, organized, almost polite. The fluorescent lights hold steady. The floor wax smells sharp and clean. Monitors beep in soft, predictable rhythms that staff stop hearing after a few years. At 1:17 a.m., Nurse Ariel Brooks checks the medication cart lock for the second time. Not because she is nervous, because she is exact. She is black, early 30s, hair pulled into a low bun, scrubs pressed like she ironed them herself. No perfume, no extra talk. She has the kind of calm that makes people assume she is new or shy because they cannot imagine calm coming from experience. At the main nurse's station, Dr. Keller flips through charts with a tired impatience. He does not look up when she approaches. "Float nurse?" he asks, already turning away. "Yes, sir," Ariel says. He nods like that settles everything, like her name is optional. Across the counter, charge nurse Dana Whitfield gives Ariel a quick scan, shoes, badge, posture, then drops her eyes back to the assignment sheet. "You'll cover pods C and D," Dana says. "Mostly observation patients. Keep the noise down. Families are already edgy." Ariel reads the sheet once, then again. Her eyes move differently than the others, less like she is memorizing, more like she is mapping. "Where's the closest stairwell access from pod D?" she asks. Dana pauses, annoyed at the question. "Why?" "Just trying to learn the flow." Dana exhales through her nose. "North stairwell, but you won't need it. We're not doing fire drills at 1 in the morning." Ariel nods, understood. She walks away without defending the question, without shrinking. The restraint is quiet, the control is quieter. In pod C, an elderly patient sleeps with an oxygen cannula under his nose. A heart monitor shows a steady line that rises and falls like a slow tide. Ariel adjusts a blanket corner that is slipping off his shoulder and checks the IV pump rate without changing her face. A technician named Miles watches her from the doorway, chewing on the inside of his cheek. "You always this intense?" he asks, trying to sound friendly. Ariel glances at him. "I'm careful." Miles laughs softly. "Same thing, different word." He moves on, pushing a linen cart that squeaks on one wheel. Ariel listens to the squeak until it fades. Then she looks down the hall where a security camera blinks its tiny red light. The hospital breathes in layers at night. You can hear elevators traveling through shafts like distant thunder. You can hear a patient coughing behind a closed curtain. You can hear the quiet arguments of exhausted staff in half voices. And if you are paying attention, you can hear what does not belong. At 1:31 a.m., a door clicks twice from the direction of the restricted supply corridor. Ariel does not jump, she does not stare. She simply stops walking for 1 second, as if tying a mental knot around the sound. Dana appears beside her a moment later, holding a coffee cup. "Don't start," Dana says before Ariel can speak. "Facilities, they're always in and out." Ariel's eyes stay on the corridor. Facilities usually drags a cart. Dana narrows her eyes. "You hear carts now." Ariel turns calm. "Yes." Dana takes a sip of coffee like that is the end of it. "Just your rounds." Ariel continues down the hall anyway, not rushing, not making it obvious. She passes the visitors' waiting area where a man sits alone, hood up, hands clasped so tight his knuckles look pale under the lights. He does not have a visitor badge. Ariel slows, the man's gaze lifts toward her, fast, assessing, then drops again like he is counting seconds. Ariel's voice stays soft. "Sir, visiting hours ended. Who are you here for?" He swallows once. "My cousin, room 412. Ariel already knows room 412. It is an observation room. The patient in 412 is a middle-aged woman admitted for chest pain, stable for hours. Ariel nods slowly as if accepting it. "What's your cousin's name?" The man's eyes flick right then back. Renee." Ariel keeps her expression neutral. "Last name?" He hesitates just long enough. Behind Ariel, Dana's voice calls from the station. "Brooks, don't bother him. Security will handle visitors." Ariel looks back toward Dana. Dana's face says drop it. Ariel returns her attention to the man. She lowers her tone even further. "Sir, I'm going to ask you to step to the desk so we can confirm." His shoulders tense, his hand moves slightly toward his jacket pocket. Ariel does not move closer, she does not raise her voice, she does not signal alarm. She simply shifts her stance, half a step sideways, placing herself between him and the hallway that leads to ICU access. It looks like nothing, but it changes the geometry of the room. The man studies her, realizing she is not as soft as she looks. For one flicker of a second, something colder moves behind his eyes. Then he stands, and the hospital's quiet begins to tilt. Ariel's fingers slip into her scrub pocket, closing around something small and flat, like a habit she never had to explain. Not a weapon, not a badge. Something else. Something that belongs to a different kind of night. And as she guides him toward the station, the overhead intercom pops with a burst of static, too sharp, too sudden, like a throat clearing before an announcement. Dana freezes mid-step. Ariel lifts her eyes. The night is about to test everyone inside this building, and they are still treating her like she is just a nurse. At 1:44 a.m., the man in the hood walks beside Ariel toward the nurse's station with a posture that pretends to cooperate. But his eyes keep tracking the environment like a scanner. Not panic, not confusion. Assessment. Ariel matches his pace without matching his tension. Her voice stays low, professional, soft enough that it does not turn heads. Just a quick check-in, she says, then we can get you to the right room. He gives a tight nod, but she notices something under his sleeve when his arm swings, a hospital wristband half torn like he has already been inside. Dana watches from the station, coffee in hand, irritation on her face like a permanent mask. You really walked him over here, Dana says. Ariel does not defend herself. He says he's here for room 412. Dana's expression flickers. That's not a family waiting room patient. The man clears his throat. I'm just trying to see my cousin. Dana points at the badge rack. Visitor badge, ID. He hesitates again just long enough. Then he reaches into his jacket pocket. Miles, the tech, passes behind the desk and murmurs, this guy feels off. Dana shoots him a look like don't start rumors. Ariel's hand remains in her scrub pocket, fingers pressing the flat object once, like confirming it is still there. The man pulls out a wallet, opens it, shows something too quickly to read. Dana barely looks. She is tired. She is used to the hospital being loud and messy and imperfect. Fine, Dana says, sign in and go. Ariel quietly slides the sign-in clipboard closer and looks at the line items. Name, phone, patient relationship, room number, boring details. The man writes D. Harris with shaky pressure, like he does not often write on paper. Ariel notices his shoes, clean soles, no scuffs, not the shoes of someone rushing from home in the middle of the night, more like shoes chosen for traction. The intercom crackles again, but this time it is only static, a brief hiccup, then silence. Dana taps the desk, go on. Ariel speaks before the man can move. Room 412 is on a monitored corridor. I'll escort you. Dana's head lifts. You don't have time for that. I do, Ariel says, not challenging, just factual. The man's jaw tightens. For a second his gaze hardens like he is calculating whether to push. Then he gives a small shrug. Sure. Ariel turns first, leading the path. If he is dangerous, you never let him choose the route. As they walk, the hospital around them continues its night rhythm. A monitor beeps. A nurse laughs quietly behind a curtain. A housekeeping cart squeaks in the distance. And under that normal sound, something else starts to show itself. Ariel passes the supply room and notices the door is not fully latched. It sits slightly open as if someone stepped out fast. A strip of light spills into the hall like a thin warning. She stops and looks. Inside, the room is tidy, but not in a hospital way, in a handled way. A box of IV tubing has been moved from its usual shelf to a lower one. A stack of sterile packs looks disturbed, like someone searched without caring about procedure. And on the floor near the back, a single blue nitrile glove lies crumpled as if dropped in a hurry. Ariel bends and picks it up using the edge of her own glove, careful not to smear whatever might be there. The man behind her watches too closely. Everything okay? He asks. Ariel keeps her tone neutral, just checking supplies. He nods, but his eyes move past her shoulder, toward the corridor that leads to ICU access. Ariel closes the supply door with a gentle click and continues walking. They reach the corner near Pod D where the security camera blinks red. Ariel glances up at it. The camera is pointed 2 degrees too far left. Not broken, not dark, just aimed wrong. She slows, her eyes follow the line of sight the camera should have had. It would have covered the hallway to the restricted wing. Now it doesn't. Dana's voice echoes from the station down the hallway. Brooks, hurry up, we have meds to pass. Ariel answers calmly without raising her voice, 2 minutes. She reaches room 412's hallway and feels the atmosphere change, like stepping into colder air. The lights flicker once, subtle enough that no one calls maintenance. But Ariel notices. At the nurse's substation, a young nurse named Lena stands sorting labels. Her face is pale, but she keeps working like she is trying to pretend her body did not feel something. Lena whispers as Ariel approaches, "That visitor, is he with you?" Ariel gives a small nod. "Did someone come through here?" Lena's eyes dart to the corner. "I heard a door, the stairwell, but security said it was nothing." Ariel turns her head slightly and looks at the stairwell door. The metal plate around the handle has a fresh scratch, thin, bright new. Something was used on it, not force, not enough to break it. Enough to test it. Ariel feels her pulse remain steady. She does not turn this into drama. She does not speak loud. She simply moves her body 1 step so she blocks the stairwell line again, like earlier. The man behind her shifts his weight. His voice lowers, "You do this a lot, playing security." Ariel looks at him for 1 moment, long enough that he feels seen. Then she answers gently, "I do my job." She turns to Lena, "Call Dana, tell her to check the camera angles at Pod D, say it's urgent." Lena hesitates, "Dana won't like that." Ariel's voice stays calm, "Do it anyway." The man's breathing changes barely. Ariel catches it. Then from deeper inside the hospital, a sound cuts through everything, sharp, metallic, wrong. A crash. Not a drop tray. A door hitting a wall. Ariel does not flinch. But the man does. Just for a fraction of a second. And that is enough. Ariel's fingers press the flat object in her pocket again, like a silent signal to herself. The hospital's quiet is still here. But it is no longer stable. It is holding its breath. At 1:58 a.m., the crash echoes again, this time closer, sharper, followed by a fast shuffle of feet that stop too suddenly, like someone realizing they are being watched. Dana's voice hits the hall before she does. "Who dropped what?" she calls, trying to keep it normal. Nobody answers. Ariel stays near the Pod D corridor with the hooded man behind her. She does not turn her back to him. She does not make it obvious she is controlling distance. She simply keeps her body positioned so the ICU hall stays behind her shoulder, not exposed. The hooded man's eyes track Dana as she approaches. His jaw flexes once. Dana arrives with a security guard, Officer Haynes, who looks tired and mildly irritated, like he has already decided this will be a false alarm. "What's going on?" Haynes asks. Ariel keeps her voice steady. "We heard impact sounds from restricted supply. Visitor claims he's here for room 412. His answers don't match." Dana rolls her eyes. "Brooks, we're not interrogating families." Haynes looks at the hooded man. "Sir, you need a visitor badge. Where's your ID?" The man lifts his hands slightly, performing calm. "I showed it. I'm here for my cousin." Haynes gestures toward the station. "Come with me." For a moment, the man does not move. It is not defiance, it is calculation. Ariel sees his left hand drift toward his jacket again, like earlier. And then from the far end of the corridor, a door opens, slow, controlled, followed by the sound of a stretcher rolling. A nurse pushes it into view, but she is not transporting a patient. She is transporting a bag. A black duffel zipped heavy enough that the stretcher wheels squeal under its weight. The nurse looks pale, eyes wide, lips parted like she wants to speak but cannot. Her badge reads transport. Dana stiffens. "What is that?" The transport nurse swallows hard. I found it outside radiology. It was just sitting there. No label, no requisition, but the door." Her voice breaks. "The door was propped." Haynes straightens, suddenly awake. "What door?" "Radiology side entrance," she whispers. "The one that's supposed to be locked." Dana's mouth opens to say something sharp, something that would make this feel controlled, but no sound comes out. Ariel steps forward and places a hand on the transport nurse's shoulder, not comforting, not dramatic, steadying. Did anyone touch it? Ariel asks. The transport nurse shakes her head quickly. No, I didn't open it. I called, but... She looks at Dana like she expects to be blamed. Dana clears her throat. Why didn't you call security? I tried, the nurse says. The line kept dropping. Ariel's eyes move to the wall phone near Pod D. She picks it up, listens. A faint tone, then dead air. Not a mistake, not random. Haynes reaches for the duffel on the stretcher. Ariel speaks once, firm but quiet. Don't open it here. Haynes pauses. It could be medical supplies. It could be something else, Ariel says. Dana stares at her, and you know that how? Ariel does not answer, she does not explain, she does not perform authority. She simply looks at the duffel like she has seen this kind of object in places where hospitals do not exist. Haynes nods once reluctantly. We'll move it to security. As he grips the stretcher rail, the hooded man shifts behind Ariel, too close. Ariel's head turns slightly, just enough to put him in her peripheral vision. Then he moves. Fast. He steps around her, not toward room 412, not toward the nurse's station, toward the corridor that leads to ICU access. Dana's voice spikes. Hey sir, where are you going? Haynes lets go of the stretcher and lunges after him. Stop. The hooded man does not run like a scared visitor. He runs like someone who knows the layout, knows the camera angles, knows how long it takes staff to react. Ariel moves too, but she does not chase. She pivots. She cuts the angle. She moves to the stairwell door with the fresh scratch and plants her hand on the panic bar, holding it closed as the man reaches it. He slams his shoulder into it once. The door doesn't give. Ariel's face stays calm, her voice is quiet, almost gentle. Not that way. The man's eyes flash surprise, then anger. Move, he says under his breath. Dana is running now, breath sharp. Haynes is behind her, radio in hand, useless static hissing. Ariel doesn't raise her voice, she doesn't threaten. She shifts her stance lower, bracing. She keeps her hand on the bar, weight grounded. The man reaches toward his jacket, not fully, just enough. Ariel's fingers tighten around the flat object in her scrub pocket, still hidden, still not displayed. And then the overhead intercom clicks on. Not a nurse paging. Not a code blue. A voice, thin, distorted by bad connection, pushes through the speakers, cutting across every hallway and waiting room in the building. Sierra Echo. The phrase is incomplete, broken by static. But Dana reacts like she just heard a gunshot. She stops mid-run, eyes widening. Haynes freezes too, staring at the ceiling speaker as if it spoke directly to him. The hooded man goes still. Not because he is scared of hospital security. Because he recognizes the phrase. Ariel lifts her eyes to the speaker. Her expression does not change. But something behind her eyes does, like a lock turning. She exhales once, controlled, and finally speaks, not to Dana, not to Haynes, not to the hooded man. She speaks to the air, to the system, to whoever is listening on the other side of the static. A single line, low and precise. A code. And the moment the words leave her mouth, the entire energy of the corridor shifts. Because the people who understand what that code means are not nurses. And whoever is inside this hospital tonight did not expect her to be here. The phrase over the intercom dies under static, but the effect remains like a pressure change in the lungs. Dana stands frozen beneath the ceiling speaker, eyes wide and confused, as if her brain refuses to accept what her body already felt. Officer Haynes looks up too, jaw tight, hands still hovering near his radio like it might suddenly start working if he stares hard enough. The hooded man does not move. Not because he is trapped. Because he is listening. Ariel lowers her gaze from the speaker to the corridor, then back to the hooded man. Her face stays composed, her voice stays low. Step away from the door, she says. Dana turns sharply. Ariel, stop, what are you doing? Ariel does not answer Dana. She keeps her tone aimed where it belongs, at the threat. The hooded man's mouth twitches, almost a smile. You're a nurse, he murmurs like an insult delivered softly. You don't run anything. Ariel's eyes hold him without heat. I'm asking you once. Officer Haynes finally finds his voice. Sir, back up now. The hooded man slowly raises both hands, palms out. He takes one step back, then another, cooperative again, controlled again. Dana exhales like she is relieved, and that relief makes her careless. She steps forward too close, trying to put herself between Ariel and the situation the way administrators always do when they think order is a matter of posture. Okay, Dana says firmly to everyone and no one. We're done. Haynes, escort him out. Brooks, go back to your pods. We are not turning this into a scene. Ariel's voice stays quiet. He's not leaving yet. Dana snaps her head toward her. Excuse me. Ariel's gaze never leaves the hooded man. He's here for something, not a visit. Dana's face tightens. You are a float nurse. You don't get to decide what someone is here for. Ariel's answer is simple. I know. That calmness, no argument, no apology, makes Dana angrier than a raised voice ever would. Dana's tone sharpens. You want to play hero because you heard a noise and you think you're the only one awake. Ariel finally looks at Dana, just once. Her eyes are steady. This isn't about me, she says. Dana throws a hand toward the transport stretcher in the hall. Then explain that. Explain why a duffel bag is sitting in my unit at 2 in the morning and you're acting like we're in a war zone. Ariel turns her head slightly, acknowledging the duffel without moving toward it. Haynes shouldn't relocate it through public corridors, she says. If it's a threat, we're carrying it deeper inside. Haynes shifts, uncomfortable. We don't have bomb squad procedure here. Ariel nods once, accepting the truth without flinching. Then we reduce movement, we contain, we clear the hall. Dana laughs short and sharp. Listen to yourself. The hooded man watches this exchange like he is learning something useful. His eyes flicker from Ariel to Dana to Haynes, mapping who has authority and who is pretending. Ariel notices that flicker. Dana does not. Dana steps in closer to Ariel, lowering her voice into the private, cutting tone that people use when they want to put someone back in place. Brooks, she says, I don't know what your problem is, but you don't override me in my unit. You will not scare patients. You will not run security. Do you understand? Ariel's voice is almost a whisper. Yes. Dana blinks, thrown off by how quickly she agrees. Ariel continues calm, and I'm still telling you he's here for something. Dana's eyes narrow, based on what your intuition. Ariel looks past Dana's shoulder at the camera blinking above the corridor, 2 degrees off, still aimed wrong. Then she looks down at the floor near the stairwell door, where the metal plate is scratched bright and new. Then she looks at the hooded man's wrist, where a torn hospital band sits like proof that he has already been inside. She does not list these things, not like a speech, not like a performance. She simply says, based on patterns. Dana scoffs, patterns. Ariel's gaze returns to the hooded man. Sir, step back another 3 feet. The hooded man hesitates. Not fear, not confusion. Defiance. Dana's voice rises. Ariel, stop talking to him like you're. The hooded man suddenly moves sideways. Fast. Not toward the exit. Toward the transport nurse standing near the stretcher. He is close enough that his shoulder brushes her arm. She gasps, startled, and the clipboard in her hand slips. Ariel moves before the clipboard hits the floor. She doesn't tackle him, she doesn't lunge, she doesn't make a spectacle. She steps into the space he wants. She blocks the line to the stretcher and the corridor at the same time. Her palm lifts open, not aggressive, like she is signaling stop to a patient who is about to fall. The hooded man stops because he is forced to stop, because her placement is perfect. Dana's breath catches, Haynes stiffens. The hooded man's eyes harden. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Ariel's voice stays even. It's already hard. The transport nurse whispers, trembling, I didn't touch it, I swear. Ariel nods once to her, an unspoken permission to breathe. Then Ariel turns her head slightly and speaks to Dana without taking her eyes off the man. Clear pod D hallway, Ariel says, quietly, no running, no announcements. Dana's face flashes with outrage. You are not giving me orders. Ariel replies without heat, then call it your idea, but do it now. For a second, Dana looks like she might refuse out of pride alone. Then the overhead lights flicker again, subtle but real. And the wall phone gives a brief chirp, then dies. Haynes looks down at his radio, static. The hooded man's gaze shifts toward the stairwell door again, like he is hearing something no one else can. Ariel hears it too, not a sound but a timing. The building is being tested. Someone is syncing with the hospital's weak points. Ariel speaks again, softer, aimed at Haynes this time. Lock the north stairwell, she says, manually. Haynes swallows, we don't have. Ariel cuts him off quietly. Yes, you do. The override key is in your belt pouch. You never use it because you never had to. Haynes stares at her like she just read his thoughts. Dana's voice tightens. How would you know that? Ariel does not answer. She simply keeps watching the hooded man, whose expression has changed just slightly into something cautious. Because now he understands something Dana still doesn't. Ariel Brooks is not guessing. She is working from training. And if she is trained, then whatever is coming through this hospital tonight is larger than one trespasser. The corridor feels narrower. The air feels thinner. And somewhere deeper in Lakeview Medical Center, another door clicks, clean, controlled, like a signal being answered. Dana doesn't move at first. She stands in the corridor with coffee in her hand, like the cup is a badge of authority, like the night is something she can manage by refusing to be afraid. Officer Haynes keeps staring at Ariel, then at his own belt pouch, as if his hands have forgotten what they carry. The hooded man watches all of them, measuring the delay. Ariel does not raise her voice, she does not step forward, she does not try to take the room. She simply shifts her weight quietly so the hall behind her remains protected. Her shoulders stay relaxed, her eyes stay awake. Lock the north stairwell, she repeats to Haynes, softer this time. Now. Haynes swallows. Dana. Dana snaps, do not take orders from a float nurse. Ariel's gaze does not change. Call it procedure then. Dana's jaw tightens. Procedure says you report concerns to charge. Ariel nods once. I am reporting, you're choosing not to hear it. That lands not as an insult, worse, as a fact. Dana looks like she might lash out just to break the feeling of being outmatched by someone who refuses to fight back. Then the intercom clicks again. A single clean tone. Not hospital chime, not overhead page. A voice comes through different than before, lower, closer, like someone patched into the system. Security control to ER, static, confirm Sierra Echo. The phrase breaks, but it is enough. Haynes stiffens so hard it looks like pain. Dana's eyes widen. What is that? What does that mean? No one answers her. Because it isn't for her. Ariel finally moves her hand out of her scrub pocket. Not fast, not dramatic. She lifts the small flat object, a thin laminated card worn on the edges, no bright logo, no showy seal. It's the kind of thing you keep hidden because explaining it to strangers is always messy. She doesn't hold it up like a trophy. She just checks it, like confirming a map is real. Then she speaks. One line, quiet, precise, directed at the ceiling speaker. Sierra Echo Green, hold. Her voice is not loud enough to impress anyone. It is loud enough to be understood. The hallway goes still. Dana stares at her. Ariel, what did you just say? Ariel doesn't look at Dana. She looks at Haynes. Manual lock, north stairwell, don't radio it, do it with your hands. Haynes's pride fights it for half a second, then training wins. He turns and moves toward the stairwell like he has been given permission to act like a professional again. Dana steps after him. Haynes don't. Haynes doesn't even turn. Ma'am, not now. Dana freezes at being shut down by her own officer. The hooded man's calm slips, not in panic, more like irritation, like a timeline has shifted on him. Ariel's eyes track him. Step back, she says again. He doesn't. He tilts his head slightly, listening, like he's hearing something through an earpiece. Ariel hears it too, not by sound, but by the way his gaze keeps returning to the corridor, the way his breathing shallowly resets every few seconds. Someone is feeding him information. Ariel speaks to Lena, the young nurse at the substation, without turning her head. Lena, she says softly, go to Pod C, tell them we're doing a quiet corridor clear. No running. If anyone argues, tell them it came from Dana. Lena swallows. Dana didn't. Ariel's tone remains gentle. Tell them anyway. Lena hesitates, then nods and moves quickly, almost relieved to have something concrete to do. Dana stares at Ariel like she's watching someone pull strings she can't see. You're using my name. Ariel finally turns her eyes to Dana, calm, controlled, no apology. I'm preventing panic, she says. You can be angry later. Dana's face flushes. You don't get to decide what happens in my department. Ariel's voice stays low. Someone already decided, we're reacting. Dana looks past Ariel toward the transport stretcher still holding the duffel bag. The transport nurse stands near it, trembling, eyes wet. I'm sorry, I didn't know. Ariel gives her a brief nod as if to say, you did the right thing by not touching it. Then Ariel reaches under the stretcher and quietly pushes the wheel lock down with her shoe. A tiny click. No one notices except the hooded man. His eyes narrow. Ariel watches him notice. That's the game now, small moves, quiet control, no spectacle. From down the hall, a faint shout rises, distant, muffled, like someone being told no in a place where no is not accepted. Then a thud, then a second thud. The crisis is moving deeper. Dana looks at Ariel again, voice strained now. If this is real, why isn't anyone coming? Ariel answers honestly, because response time is not instant, and because whoever came into this building planned for delay. Dana's breath shakes. Ariel's gaze goes back to the hooded man. He shifts his feet, he is deciding. And Ariel can feel the moment coming when he will stop pretending to be a visitor. She does not reach for him, she does not threaten him. She moves one step to the side, barely opening a path that looks like escape. A trap made from kindness. The hooded man takes it. He lunges, aiming for the corridor toward ICU access. Ariel lets him pass, just enough. Then she moves her hand up to the wall panel beside her and presses a single button, something any nurse could do. A quiet maglock engages. The ICU access door behind her clicks closed. The hooded man slams into it, trapped on the wrong side. He turns sharply, eyes flashing. Ariel meets his gaze without fear, her tone calm. You don't get that hallway, she says, not tonight. His lips peel back slightly. Who are you? Ariel's answer is barely audible. Not your problem. Then from somewhere outside the building, faint at first, then unmistakable, comes the sound of rotor blades cutting the air. Not a news helicopter, not life flight. This one moves like it knows where it is landing. Dana hears it and goes pale. And the hooded man's face changes completely, because now he understands what Ariel already calculated. The hospital is no longer isolated. The hospital is becoming a perimeter. And Ariel Brooks is already acting like she belongs in the center of it. The rotor sound grows stronger, then steadies, controlled, circling once before dropping lower. It does not sound like life flight. It sounds like a machine arriving with intent. Dana moves to the nearest window and looks out, face tightening as the wind from the blades stirs loose paper on the sill. Oh my God, she whispers. Ariel does not go to the window. She keeps her eyes where the danger already is, inside. The hooded man is trapped at the ICU access door now, palm flat against the glass as if pressure alone could open it. He turns back toward Ariel slowly, like a man deciding whether the mask is still useful. You just locked me out, he says, voice lower. Ariel's response is quiet. I locked everyone in. Behind them, the transport nurse clutches her clipboard to her chest like armor. Her breathing is loud in the silence. Dana turns from the window, panic starting to rise into anger, because anger is easier. What did you do? Dana snaps at Ariel. You just escalated this. Ariel's voice stays even. It was already escalated, we just stopped pretending. The intercom clicks again. This time the voice is clearer, calmer, closer, like someone has gained access to the building's internal system. Lakeview Medical, this is perimeter control. Keep your corridors clear. Do not move toward the south entrance. Dana stiffens. Perimeter control, who? The voice continues firm. Medical staff remain with patients. Security comply with instructions. Dana looks at Ariel with a kind of disbelief that hurts more than distrust. You called them. Ariel does not confirm it. She does not deny it. She doesn't have time. Because down the hall near Pod C, a scream cuts through the building, short, sharp, followed by a heavy impact sound. Then silence. The kind of silence that follows a threat entering a space where people were trying to sleep. Dana's face drains. That was. Ariel is already moving. Not running, not shouting. moving with purpose. She turns to Lena, who has just returned from the corridor clear. Lena's eyes are wide, mouth trembling. Pod C. Lena whispers, something happening. Ariel nods once, stay here, lock yourself into the substation. If anyone comes through that door without a badge, you hit the panic button and you do not open it. Lena swallows hard, what if it's a nurse? Ariel answers without softness, then they will use their badge. Dana follows Ariel 2 steps, finally sensing she is out of depth. Ariel, stop, Dana says, we need to wait for security. Ariel doesn't stop walking, security is already compromised. Dana's voice breaks, what makes you say that? Ariel slows just enough to look at Dana. The camera angles, the dead phones, the propped door, the duffel, and the fact that your visitor knew exactly where ICU access is. Dana's throat tightens, that doesn't mean. Ariel's voice stays calm, it means we assume the worst and protect people. They reach Pod C. The corridor is dimmer here, lights set lower for sleeping patients. A family member sits against the wall with his head in his hands, rocking slightly as if praying without words. Ariel approaches him, sir, what happened? He looks up, eyes wet and wild. A man, he said he was security. He tried to go into my mom's room. I told him visiting hours. He pushed me. Ariel's gaze shifts to the room door. The patient chart holder is slightly bent, like it was hit. The handle has fresh smears on the metal, like someone wore gloves. Dana whispers, why would anyone want? Ariel holds up one finger, silent. From behind the door, a soft sound. A voice, not the patient. A man's voice, low, urgent, speaking into something near his mouth. Ariel takes a slow breath, then she leans closer to the door without touching it. She listens. The voice inside says, South corridor clear, target moved. Ariel's eyes narrow, no panic, only focus. Dana's whisper becomes a tremor, target. Ariel does not answer. She looks down the hall to the nearest intersection where the corridor splits. One way leads back to the nurse's station, the other leads deeper into observation rooms. Ariel quietly reaches for the wall panel and dims the corridor lights one more level, not fully dark, just enough to change visibility in slow movement. Dana stares, you can do that. Ariel answers softly, anyone can, nobody does. The family member starts to stand. What's going on is my mother. Ariel turns to him, voice steady and gentle. Your mother is safe right now. I need you to do exactly what I say. Take your phone, go to the supply alcove, lock the door, and stay silent. He hesitates, I'm not leaving her. Ariel holds his gaze with calm authority that doesn't ask permission. You staying here will get you hurt and make her less safe. Move. He swallows, then nods, fear turning into obedience. Dana watches that exchange like she just witnessed a different kind of power, quiet, controlled, not performative. Ariel takes one step back from the door. She does not kick it, she does not shout police, she does not trigger chaos. She taps her badge against the reader once. The lock clicks, the door opens 1 inch. Ariel pushes it open with 2 fingers, body angled, keeping her profile small. Dana starts to follow. Ariel stops her with a hand, flat on Dana's chest for half a second. No, Ariel whispers. Dana's eyes flash, you can't. Ariel's voice is low, unbreakable. Stay with the hall. If someone comes behind me, you close this door. Dana's breathing shakes, but she nods. Ariel steps inside. The room smells like antiseptic and sweat. The patient lies in bed, wide awake, eyes huge, oxygen cannula pulled aside like someone moved it. A man stands near the sink with his back half turned. Not a doctor, not security. A hoodie, gloves, a small radio. He freezes when he sees Ariel. His eyes flick to her badge. Nurse, he says, dismissing her instantly. Wrong room, get out. Ariel doesn't argue. She takes 1 step forward and looks at the patient, an older woman, terrified, lips trembling. Ariel speaks gently to her. Ma'am, keep breathing, look at me. The woman's eyes lock onto Ariel like a lifeline. The intruder's voice hardens. I said get out. Ariel finally looks at him. Her face is calm, her tone is even. You're blocking the sink, she says. Step aside. He blinks, confused for a split second. Because nobody talks to him like he's the one in the wrong place. He shifts, irritation rising. You don't understand what this is. Ariel's eyes flick to the radio in his hand. Then to his glove, the same shade of blue as the crumpled glove she found earlier. Then to the patient's chart holder, where a paper is half missing, torn cleanly, like someone removed a page with purpose. Ariel understands exactly what this is. She simply chooses not to say it out loud. Instead, she does something small. She presses the call button on the wall once. A soft chime sounds at the nurse's station. Nothing dramatic, but it triggers a protocol. Outside the room, Dana hears it, and for the first time all night, Dana responds like a professional instead of an administrator. She closes the door halfway, leaving it cracked just as Ariel instructed. The intruder's head turns sharply toward the door. And in that half second of distraction, Ariel moves, not with violence, not with hero theatrics. With restraint. She steps between him and the patient, placing her body as a barrier, voice calm enough to sound almost kind. "Whatever you came for," she says, "you won't take it from her." The intruder's eyes harden. He reaches into his hoodie pocket. And Ariel's hand slips again toward her scrub pocket, fingers closing around that flat object. The one she has not shown. The one that makes certain people arrive by helicopter. Outside, the rotors settle into a hover. Inside, the room tightens like a fist. And the cost of this night is about to land on someone, because it always does. The intruder's hand is still inside his hoodie pocket when Ariel speaks again. Not louder, not sharper. Just clearer. "Take your hand out," she says, slow. He does, his eyes stay locked on the cracked door on the hallway beyond it, like he's waiting for a signal. The patient in the bed, Mrs. Halpern, breathes too fast, fingers twisting the blanket until the fabric pulls tight. Ariel turns her head slightly toward the patient, without turning her body away from the intruder. "Ma'am," she says, "look at my face, count your breaths with me, in, out." The patient tries, her chest rises unevenly. The intruder laughs under his breath. "You think this is about her." Ariel doesn't respond to the insult. She studies him the way a clinician studies a symptom, not emotionally, but precisely. His stance is wrong for a visitor, wrong for a petty criminal. He keeps his feet set for movement, not for intimidation. His shoulders are angled toward the door, not toward her. He is not here to hurt the patient. He is here to take something near her, or from her file, or from this room. Outside in the hall, Dana's voice cracks through in a whisper, forced calm. "Ariel, there's someone else, 2 corridors down. They're asking for this room." Ariel's eyes do not move. "How many?" Dana hesitates. "I saw one, but..." A faint tap comes from the wall panel outside, someone touching the badge reader lightly, as if testing it. Ariel feels the building narrow around them. The intruder's gaze sharpens. He hears the same things she does. He leans slightly toward the bed, eyes flicking toward the chart holder. Ariel moves one step, not toward him, but toward the chart holder first, placing her body between his line of sight and the papers. It's a small motion, but it changes what he can reach without touching her. He notices, his jaw tightens. "You're in the way again," he murmurs. Ariel's voice stays even. "That's the point." Dana whispers again, close to the door now. "We can't hold the corridor. Patients are waking up. Families are recording." Ariel closes her eyes for half a second, not in fear, like someone making a decision. Then she speaks, low enough that only Dana and the intruder can hear. "Dana," she says, "move Mrs. Halpern's neighbor into the clean supply alcove. Keep them silent. Lock it." Dana's breath catches. "We can't move patients like that. It violates." Ariel opens her eyes. "We can if we're preventing harm." Dana's voice turns desperate. "Administration will bury us." Ariel looks at the patient, terrified, fragile human. Then she looks at the intruder, focused, practiced, empty. Her next words are quiet, but they carry weight. "Let them try," she says. This is the moral tension, not a speech, a decision. In the hallway, Dana swallows hard and nods, though Ariel can't see it. Dana steps away to move people without panicking them. She's finally doing her job the way it was meant to be done. Inside the room, the intruder shifts again, impatient. "You have no idea what's coming," he says. Ariel replies calmly, "I have an idea." The intruder's hand comes out of the hoodie pocket. It is not a gun. It is a small tool, thin metal, like something used to pop a lock or lift a panel. The kind of object that can open doors that are supposed to stay closed. He steps toward the chart holder. Ariel doesn't grab him, she doesn't strike him. She reaches out and pulls the chart holder off the wall with one sharp tug, paper and all, then drops it behind her, out of reach, like a nurse clearing a contaminated tray. The intruder's eyes flash with anger. "That's it," he says, "that's your move." Ariel's face stays calm. "It's enough." The patient whispers, shaking, "Please don't let him." Ariel's voice softens for the patient only. "He won't." Then Ariel does something that costs her. She steps away from the bed. Not retreating, making space. She moves toward the sink area, toward the intruder, so that if he chooses violence, it lands on her, not on the woman in the bed. The intruder sees it and smiles without warmth. "You're brave," he murmurs, "or stupid." Ariel answers almost inaudible, "Neither." In the hall, sudden shouting erupts, two voices, sharp commands, then a crash. A gurney slams into a wall, someone screams. The sound is real enough that Mrs. Halpern whimpers, curling inward. Ariel feels her own pulse finally shift, not into panic, but into urgency. Because now the threat is spreading pressure through the building. It's not random chaos. It's purposeful disruption designed to make staff break protocol and open doors. Ariel leans slightly toward the intruder. "If you touch her," she says, "you'll regret it." He laughs again, soft. "You'll do what?" Ariel doesn't answer, she doesn't make promises. Instead, she speaks into the air, quietly toward the cracked doorway, toward the building systems. "Sierra Echo Black." Dana hears it outside and goes still. Because that phrase is not a hospital code. It's a switch. And Ariel uses it like she's been allowed to use it before. A moment later, the overhead lights in the Pod C corridor dim another notch. The maglocks down the hall engage with a soft series of clicks, controlled closures, not alarms. The hospital isn't screaming, it's sealing. The intruder's eyes widen for the first time, not fear. Surprise. He steps back, suddenly realizing he may not be the one controlling this room anymore. But he recovers fast. He lunges, not at Ariel, at the bed, reaching across as if to grab something from Mrs. Halpern's wrist or under her pillow. Ariel moves. Not flashy, not violent. She catches his forearm with both hands and locks it in place against the bed rail, using leverage, not strength. His elbow bends at the wrong angle and he freezes, pain flickering across his face. Ariel's voice stays calm. "Stop." His breath turns ragged. "What are you?" Ariel leans in close enough that he can hear her without anyone else hearing. "Someone taught you to move through buildings," she says softly. "They didn't teach you to move through me." That line isn't a boast, it's a fact delivered like a diagnosis. Outside the room, Dana returns, face pale, eyes wet. "I moved the patients," Dana whispers. "They're safe." Ariel doesn't look away from the intruder. Good. This is the cost. Not blood, not glory. Ariel is going to be blamed for sealed corridors, displaced patients, broken protocol. And she accepts that weight without asking anyone to understand it. The intruder tries to twist free. Ariel holds him firm, controlled, until she hears heavy footsteps approaching in the hall, not running, not chaotic. "Disciplined." A voice outside says low and steady, "Door." Dana's reply is shaky. "There's a patient inside." The voice answers, "We know." Ariel closes her eyes for half a breath. Then she releases the intruder's arm, steps back, and raises her hands slowly, not surrender, but clarity. Because the next phase of this night is not about what she can do. It's about who will recognize what she already has done. And the hospital is about to witness that recognition in the only way it believes. From people with guns, badges, and rank. The footsteps in the hallway do not rush. They move like a line holding shape. Dana stands just outside the cracked door, one hand braced against the wall like her legs forgot how to work. Her lips move without sound, counting, praying, trying not to collapse. Ariel keeps her palms raised at chest height, not surrender, transparency. A way to show the person entering the room that she is not the threat, even if she is the reason the room is still standing. The voice outside speaks again, quiet and flat. "Opened." Dana's fingers tremble as she pushes the door wider. Two men step in, dressed like hospital security at a distance, dark clothing, neutral posture, but their eyes are too calm, too trained. One carries a medical bag that looks ordinary until you notice it's strapped like something heavier might belong in it. The other's gaze sweeps the room in a pattern: corners, door, bed, sink, hands. They don't look at the intruder first. They look at Ariel, not in confusion, in recognition. The intruder tries to use that moment. His shoulder dips, a twitch of movement as if he's going to bolt toward the hallway or grab the patient again. Ariel shifts one step, subtle, blocking the line without touching him. Restraint, not force. She keeps herself between him and Mrs. Halperin like it's the only rule left that matters. The first man's eyes flick to the intruder, then back to Ariel. His jaw tightens. He speaks a single word, quiet enough that it doesn't scare the patient, but heavy enough that it changes the air. "Ma'am." Dana hears it and stiffens, like the word hit her physically. In the hospital, ma'am is polite. Here, it's a rank-shaped sound, automatic respect. The second man lifts his hand slightly, not a salute yet, more like a reflex interrupted at the last second. Dana whispers, barely audible, "Who are you people?" Neither answers her. Because this moment isn't for Dana. The first man takes a half step closer to Ariel and speaks in the same controlled tone. "Perimeter is set, south entrance secured. We lost sight of one suspect near radiology. We have one in your room." He doesn't ask Ariel what to do. He reports to her like that is the natural order. Ariel's voice stays low, simple English, no speeches. "Primary objective is patient safety," she says. He's been reaching for her chart and her wrist. He's not here to kill, he's here to extract. The second man's eyes snap to Mrs. Halperin's wrist, her hospital band, the IV line, the way the blanket is tucked. Then to the chart Ariel pulled down, lying behind her out of reach. He nods once like he's receiving data, not drama. The intruder hears the language, objective, extract, perimeter, and his expression finally cracks. "What is this?" he spits, voice rising. "You're a nurse." Ariel doesn't look at him when she answers. "Stay still," she says. The intruder laughs sharp and ugly, or what you'll call another code. One of the men moves toward him, controlled, hands now. The intruder's gaze flicks to the doorway, calculating distance, weight, speed. He chooses flight. He lunges. Not at the door first. At Mrs. Halperin. He grabs toward her wrist like he's trying to tear something free, an ID band, a hidden bracelet, a taped note under gauze, something small that carries big consequences. Mrs. Halperin screams, thin, terrified human. Ariel moves instantly. Still not flashy. She catches the intruder's arm and pins it to the bed rail again, using the same leverage as before, her posture calm and close. She doesn't strike him. She doesn't punish him. She stops him. The first man steps in and takes control of the intruder's other arm with a quick, clinical restraint. The second man moves to the far side of the bed, shielding the patient with his body while checking her IV line, her oxygen cannula, her breathing. Ariel speaks to Mrs. Halperin like nothing else exists. "Ma'am, look at me," she says. "You're okay. Stay with my voice, in, out." Mrs. Halperin's eyes lock onto Ariel's face. The terror doesn't disappear, but it steadies. Dana stands frozen, watching Ariel's hands, watching the way she holds the intruder without shaking, watching the way she speaks to the patient as if fear is a symptom she can treat. The intruder strains, teeth clenched. "You're not supposed to be here," he growls at Ariel. "This hospital wasn't supposed to have you." Ariel doesn't answer. Because his sentence is the reveal. Not for him. For everyone else. The first man restrains the intruder fully, then speaks into a small mic near his collar, low, coded, calm. "We have one detained, room confirmed, patient secure." A reply comes back in his earpiece. He nods, then he turns to Ariel again. "Ma'am, command wants confirmation. Are you holding Sierra Echo Black?" Dana's eyes widen at the phrase. She heard it. She heard Ariel say it earlier. But hearing it from a man like this makes it real in a way the hospital can't deny. Ariel nods once, affirm. No pride, no performance. Just confirmation. Dana's mouth opens, no words come out. The second man checks Mrs. Halperin's vitals, then looks at Ariel with a brief, almost human softness. "You did good," he says. Ariel's eyes don't change, but her breathing shifts slightly, like that sentence carries weight she doesn't accept often. Outside the room, more disciplined footsteps pass, teams moving, doors sealing, controlled commands. No sirens, no screaming. The hospital isn't turning into a battlefield. It's being restored into a controlled environment because someone is finally treating it like a perimeter. Dana finds her voice thin and shaking. Ariel, she whispers, who are you? Ariel finally turns her head toward Dana. Her face is calm, tired now but not broken. I'm a nurse, she says. Dana blinks, confused, almost angry. That's not. Ariel cuts her off gently. That's what matters here. The first man leads the intruder toward the door. As he passes Ariel, the intruder leans slightly closer, voice venomous. They'll blame you, he hisses. They always blame the quiet one. Ariel doesn't react. She watches him go. Not with triumph. With the same clinical attention she had at the medication cart. Because she already knows the cost isn't over. Outside, a senior figure appears in the corridor, older, calm, wearing plain clothes that still carry authority. He looks like someone who doesn't need a uniform anymore. He approaches Ariel and stops at a respectful distance. He doesn't salute, not here, not in front of patients. But his eyes give it away. Brooks, he says quietly, you held it. Ariel nods, I did. He looks past her to Mrs. Halperin, then to Dana, then to the corridor beyond. Hospital administration will want answers, he says. Ariel's voice is steady, give them the truth, no extra. The man nods once, then he turns slightly toward Dana, who is still frozen in shock. She followed protocol, he says simply. Your protocol just wasn't written for this. Dana's throat works, she can't respond. Ariel steps back to the bedside and adjusts Mrs. Halperin's oxygen cannula with gentle hands, like the world is normal again because she needs it to be. The teams move past the doorway, securing the last weak points, gathering evidence, sealing the building with quiet discipline. And Ariel, still in scrubs, still unnamed in the eyes of most of the hospital, keeps doing the one thing she has been doing all night. Protecting people, without asking anyone to believe her. By 3:41 a.m., the hospital feels like it has survived a quiet disaster. Not the kind that leaves broken walls. The kind that leaves people changed. The corridors are sealed in sections. Staff stand in small clusters, whispering in clipped sentences. Some hold phones they never pressed record on, like guilt is heavier than fear. A janitor mops a thin streak of spilled saline near Pod C, eyes down, pretending he didn't hear the words that didn't belong to a hospital. Dana walks fast, but not with purpose anymore, more like she's trying to outrun what she saw. She rounds the corner into the nurse's station and finds Ariel there, back where she started. Scrubs still clean, gloves changed, hands steady as she rechecks a medication label and signs a chart with careful handwriting. Dana stares at her like she expects Ariel to be gone, like the kind of person who takes command, also disappears with the night. Ariel, Dana says, voice raw, administration is asking what happened. They're asking who authorized the locks. They're asking why patients were moved. Ariel does not look up at first. She caps a pen, places it down neatly, then meets Dana's eyes. We moved patients because it was safer than keeping them in open corridors, she says. We locked doors because the building was being tested, and we did it quietly so people didn't stampede. Dana's throat tightens. They'll say we overreacted. Ariel nods once, then they'll learn what underreacting costs. Dana's eyes shine, anger and shame mixing until they look the same. You used my name. Ariel's tone stays gentle, but it doesn't bend. You needed control to keep staff calm. Your name gave them that. Dana flinches as if slapped by the truth. Across the desk, Officer Haynes returns with a bruise forming on his cheek and a paper cup of water he hasn't touched. He looks at Ariel, then away, like respect is unfamiliar and uncomfortable. Ma'am, he says quietly, then catches himself and clears his throat. Nurse Brooks, the team wants your statement. Ariel picks up a small notepad. I'll give facts, no opinions. Dana watches her stand. No dramatic posture, no victory, just a woman moving from one responsibility to the next. They walk through a corridor now lined with quiet personnel in plain clothes. No one stares like fans, they stare like people who recognize a standard. Outside a conference room near security control, a senior administrator is already waiting, hair perfect, eyes tired, voice sharpened by fear. "We need to understand the liability," the administrator begins. "Who gave permission for?" Ariel doesn't argue. She places the notepad on the table and speaks calmly. "Here, what happened?" she says. "A coordinated intrusion attempted to reach a protected target inside the hospital. Comms were disrupted. Cameras were misaimed. A suspect posed as a visitor and moved toward restricted access. A suspicious duffel was placed near radiology entrance. We contained corridors, protected patients, and prevented an extraction." The administrator blinks. "Extraction." Ariel meets his eyes. "Yes." Silence thickens. In the corner, the older plainclothes figure, Perimeter Command, stands with arms folded, observing. He doesn't speak over Ariel. He doesn't rescue her with rank. He lets her own the facts. Dana sits behind Ariel, hands clenched, realizing what leadership looks like when it isn't loud. When Ariel finishes, she adds one line, almost softer. "No one died," she says. "That was the goal." The administrator tries to swallow his fear and turn it into blame. "And your credentials?" he asks. "Why did you have access to?" Ariel's eyes hold steady. "I'm here because the hospital asked for extra hands," she says. "Tonight, that mattered more than titles." She stands to leave before anyone can turn this into politics. In the hallway, Dana follows her and finally speaks like a human being. "I treated you like you were nothing," Dana whispers, "and you still protected everyone." Ariel pauses, just a pause. Then she answers without cruelty. "I protected people," she says. "That includes you." And she walks back into the nightlit hospital where the monitors are still beeping and patients still need care, because the world doesn't stop after it almost breaks. By 5:12 a.m., the hospital returns to the kind of noise people trust. A coffee machine hisses in the break room. A printer spits out discharge papers. A nurse laughs once too loud, then lowers her voice like she's embarrassed to be alive after a night like that. The monitors keep beeping, indifferent, steady, as if nothing happened. Ariel stands at a sink in the staff restroom, washing her hands longer than she needs to. The water is hot. The soap smells like lemon and disinfectant. She scrubs under her nails with the same focus she used in the corridor, because routine is how she pulls herself back into the world. When she dries her hands, she catches her reflection. Not a hero, not a commander. A tired nurse with a controlled face and eyes that have seen too much to chase praise. Outside, the hallway is quieter now. The plainclothes teams are gone. No helicopters, no flashing lights. Only small signs, an extra seal on a door, a taped evidence marker by a hinge, a security guard standing straighter than he did at midnight. Dana finds her near the lockers. Dana doesn't look angry anymore. She looks older. "I filed the report," Dana says softly. "Administration tried to rewrite parts of it. Perimeter Command shut them down." Ariel nods, taking that in without satisfaction. Dana hesitates, then adds, "I told them you followed nursing protocol, that you kept patients calm, that you prevented a stampede." Ariel finally speaks. "Good." Dana swallows. "They'll ask about your other role." Ariel opens her locker. Inside is a plain jacket, folded neatly. Nothing tactical, nothing dramatic. "They don't need it," Ariel says. Dana's voice shakes. "But I do. I need to understand why you never said." Ariel looks at her with quiet clarity. "Because it's not a story," she says. "It's a responsibility." She changes out of her scrubs without turning it into a moment. She clips her badge off and sets it on the shelf like any nurse would. At the exit, Officer Haynes stands by the door. His bruise has darkened. He doesn't block her path. He doesn't try to speak like her friend. He only nods once, formal, restrained. "Thank you," he says. Ariel nods back. "Do your rounds." Outside, the morning air is cold and clean. The sky is gray-blue over the city, the kind of dawn that doesn't celebrate anyone. Ariel walks to her car alone, hands in her pockets, shoulders steady. Behind her, Lakeview Medical Center keeps running, people healing, people breaking, people being saved by strangers they never truly see. And Ariel drives away without looking back, carrying the weight in silence, because that is what she came here to do.